Huzzah, and well met to you arcanists and mages who might have a familiar nearby. And if I were to be very, very quiet for a moment, you might hear the rust purring nearby, because he's decided to invite himself onto my desk tonight. At any rate, during my uh, tinkering, I suppose, for my gold farm video, I found out that Allay sorting systems are not very good, or that at least they weren't. So I did some research and I found a new one. So this will be part one of a perfect Allay sorting system, and I am very excited about this. But because my old one is broken, it's going to become an unlisted video. I'll leave a link in the description here, and we are going to build a new one. So, how this works is essentially the same, but we've used note blocks for each individual allay so that they don't get confused and try to throw the items at the wrong note blocks or just freeze up all entirely. For starters, we have our water flow coming through. This is essentially the same idea, but now each allay gets their own note block, and the circuit is much more straightforward and simple. And storage is even easier as well, because each allay is in a hopper that can be pointed into a chest and into a series of chests, or you can do it this way if you so desire. I didn't clean that out very well now, did I? But you can do it this way as well if you want an array of chests and all the items will fall to the bottommost chest first. It's up to you, really. I prefer them to be in series, but to each their own, and I don't know what your specific needs for your specific farm will be. So there's that. Now, you'll see all of this netherite stuff later as we talk about how to tune our allays for sorting and the like. But first, let's talk about the allay themselves. So we have a few issues to deal with in that you can find allays in a woodland mansion, which I realize is saying, like, if you're lucky enough to find a woodland mansion, they're tens of thousands of blocks away from spawn, then good luck. So, shift right click with them or on them with a lead, and you can put them on a lead, tie them to a post so they don't get away. Alternatively, you can give them an item and then put a lead on them without having to shift. To take an item away from them, you actually have to just give them nothing by right clicking on them with an empty hand. They don't tend to like it though, and they make a sad noise for it. So, allays, being joyful creatures, I guess, tend to like music a whole lot. So, what you need is a jukebox when they're around, and you can make them dance. You can't hear it because I have the music turned down entirely, but you'll see she starts spinning little circles here. If you have one allay and some music and some amethyst, give them an amethyst, and they make a dance partner. Now, we don't want any trouble with the music getting a copyright problem, so we're just going to shift click and put a lead on this one. And if you didn't know this, when you're tying multiple animals or allays to one singular post, if you click on the rope or the lead part, you'll break the leads and the others will escape. Or click on the top to just add it to. No problem right there. So, what can we do with allay? Well, if you give them an item and then they find another one, they'll pick it up and throw it to you. This leads to another little quirk of them. If you give them an unenchanted version, they will pick up even enchanted ones. But if you give them an enchanted version of an item, they will only pick up versions of that item that have that same enchantment. So keep that in mind. Allay fit nicely right in this little hopper with a slab above themselves, but as you could probably guess, this doesn't make them real easy to get into a hopper and with a slab over top of them. You can't just make them go in, so we have to have a little pre-gaming. So what we have here is a top slab, or a top half slab with a hopper, just or a piston, excuse me, placed above. Not a sticky piston, you just want a regular piston so that it pushes the slab down into place and then retracts without pulling the slab back. And we can capture an allay in a minecart, but unfortunately, when they're in a minecart, they don't tend to work as well as when they're just in a hopper. So we're going to free this allay, I think. Oh, we just gave her a lead. We'll just free them all and let the other one run free. So, to get one to a minecart, throw an item nearby to a minecart, and they will often end up trapped. You may have to do it 2 or 3 times. I don't know. Oh, yep, she will pick it up even while she's in a minecart. But all the research that I've heard said that having them in a minecart over top of the water flow doesn't generally work too well. I'm not seeing that, but we'll stick with this design anyways. As I said, this is part 1 of Allay Sorting. I like this sorter. It seems to be working pretty well. Whoop. Give her a better push than that. So you can see how we've got this beginning setup here for our singular slice, just like over there. And before we finish this process, we want to brick the whole thing in, and very carefully, because you can hurt your allay, break that minecart and quickly hit the switch. And now she is trapped. And you can still interact with her. See, I told you they make sad noises when you take their items away. But you can tune them or set them to whatever it is that you want them to sort out of a water stream for you. So what happens is an allay, when they hear a note block or a note from a note block, they like to throw any other items that they've picked up at the note block. Since they're in a hopper, as soon as they throw the item, it gets sucked up by the hopper and ends up in the chest. So this is how we make an allay sorting system. You all saw that, right? That chest didn't conjoin. That was interesting. And we have forgotten one thing for our circuit here. Imagine that's green. Ah, it's pretty easy to grab some green concrete and do this the right way so that we have our slice. Really not that big a deal, but doing this in survival mode, it can become a pain, especially when you've got 8 or 9 allay floating around. You're trying to remember which one you want to get into which position, but not a big deal. So we come over here, and as you saw, we have all of this netherite stuff to sort out because I don't know what kind of farm you have or we have here, but we're going to have. Oh, I forgot that would be the case. Nope. We're going to take and make all of these allay our netherite pickers. So as these things float down our water stream here, and I've used blue ice here, you can do it with packed ice, and you really could even do it with non-ice solid blocks that water flows across. You'll have a section of 8 allay. Don't go with more. I'll explain why in a moment. And that will be part of part 2, because as I was recording this video earlier, I discovered a problem with this situation, or this setup. So we're going to remove that just for a moment so you can see we have, this is a dropper pointing down into an upside down stair that's waterlogged. That will push items into the flowing water, which goes 8 blocks, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. As you see, the water comes all the way to the edge. It doesn't go farther. If you were going to extend this, you'd put ice, you'd place a button, and you'd build more around here. I guess we don't need to go that high, do we? And you would place a repeater here to send your signal along. The reason that we haven't done that is because I was just doing that in my previous attempt to record this video and realized that items don't make it to the allay when the note block goes off, so they don't pick them up and they don't throw them at the note block. They get very confused. So we're going to have to show in the next video how to move your items into another circuit or another dropper circuit, but we'll discuss that, like I said, in the next video, and we'll show you how this one works. So anything that gets placed into this chest, once we replace that hopper I broke, will get pushed into the dropper, and our comparator here is looking through this blue concrete block into the dropper. It says, yep, we've got an item here. It's in subtract mode, and it sends the signal forward to these repeaters, which are both on 4 ticks. They light up, or they power this blue concrete block, which lights up this redstone dust, and sends the signal back through these 2 repeaters going this way that are also both on 4 ticks. So with your repeaters, you set them down, and that's 1 tick, 2, 3, 4 ticks. You need to go that slowly for your allay's sake. That's how much time they need to reset between picking up and tossing an item at a note block and resetting, basically. Our signal then moves on, shuts down our comparator, which then immediately turns back on and looks through to the dropper, says, oh, hey, there's still items in there. And that's what's going to keep this thing repeating as long as there's items moving into the dropper. And when it's empty, it won't be randomly firing, so that you don't have a bunch of note block noise in your world, even though I have the volume for those turned down to 0. Our signal finally pushes on up here, branches off to our other circuit, but this is the important part, is it powers this concrete block, powering our dropper to fire into the water stream. Our other branch is just a repeater. It isn't interacting with this blue concrete block, just sending the signal along. And each of these is being soft powered, or is being powered by the redstone dust and soft powering the note block. So we get synchronous notes. If you know anything about music, you can tune these all individually so that it plays wonderful chords for you, but you're always going to have nothing underneath, so you'll always get the same instrument. But anyways, let's see how it works. We've placed our netherite things to be sorted in there. We'll replace the hopper and see it get to work. You'll see the musical notes popping out at the top there, and you could hear the allay are picking things up already. And you saw just for a moment there one tossed an item which got hoovered up by the hopper. When I was working on the gold farm, I kept seeing, even having 8 allay, 4 to each side of a water stream, they were still missing so many golden swords as they went through. And I got very frustrated with that and wondered why. And largely it's because with the design I had used before that I had found, the note blocks were spaced out, and not all of the allay were able to, or not all of the allay thought that they could throw the item to the note block because it was too far away. So they would stop picking them up as well. But you'll see we have our shovel there. I didn't think this through. We're going to have to break these just to see. Our netherite pick made it. The iron axe. Nothing came out of this end, so we know they all picked it all up properly. We'll just make sure, well, we don't know they did it properly, but the helmet allay picked up the helmet. Since these are all in direct sequence, they just go straight down. Netherite leggings, netherite boots, and we saw a sword, axe, pickaxe, and shovel. I really am excited for a second video. I already have a few ideas on how to turn this around the corner and how to reset it so your items will continue along if you wanted to build this in a long string off into infinity. Um, like I said, don't send them too far because eventually the note blocks will fire and it will take the item too long to get along in the waterway for the Allay to see it in time, pick it up and throw it to its note block, and it will let many items go by. But we will figure out just how to do that in part two of this. This has been Allay Sorting Part 1. Um, I want to say thank you real quick because there is my gold farm has become one of my top 5 viewed videos of all of my channel, and that's only happened in about 5 or 6 days. So I just want to say thank you for that to all of you who have viewed it. I really hope you like and subscribe the video, or subscribe to my channel anyways. You can like the video. Leave me your comments. I love your stuff. I love your ideas. Um, all of your questions are welcome. I'm happy to respond to most of you. In fact, all of you, almost all the time. Though as the channel grows, that's getting a little trickier. And yeah, I hope that you're having a great holiday season or hunting season, whatever it is for you. And I hope you're blessed on your next quest. I'm off to my next adventure. See you next time.